right, guys, welcome back to another episode of my East Coast Fitness Podcast, and I'm your host, Mark Lewis. Today I have another very special guest with me, so I'll just let him introduce yourself. So if you could just introduce yourself to my viewers, that'd be great.
Hey guys, my name is Mulo, online coach. Inspire, motivate people around fitness to be strong, athletic, and to help themselves in every way possible.
Yeah, and I don't know if you guys remember him, but we also did a workout. I think it was like maybe over a month ago now, probably like 2 months ago when we did that workout.
Crazy how fast the time went between now and that time.
I think that was that might have been in like February or something, probably is when we did that, right?
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's just crazy,
man.
It's crazy to say like how quick, you know what I mean, things can change, and like where you can be in like one aspect and then not being able to, like, obviously everybody's aware of what's going on with like this pandemic and like basically the situation that everyone's in. But it's just crazy to think how, like, you know what I mean, we were working out at the gym like 2 months ago, and then like I got the notice from like Good Life in an email, and it was like, I think it was like March 16th, I think, is when I got the email, and they were like, because I'm in Truro, right? So I go to Good Life. Other than when I'm in Sydney, I'll go to Platinum. But yeah, I got the email, and it was just like, we're going to be effectively closed on like the 16th. And like that was on a Monday, I think, and it was like Sunday night.
Crazy, man. It flew by. Like, I counted yesterday. It's over 1,000 hours of quarantine right now. Over 1,000 hours.
1,000 hours?
Over 1,000 hours.
I know.
Crazy,
days are just blending into each other, right? And you're just like, the worst part, I think, is like, so just to kind of give you an idea of what kind of topics we're going to talk about today, I think one of the biggest things that we're going to talk about, just because I feel like it's the most important right now for a lot of people. And I mean, personally, I'm struggling with it myself too, is just kind of motivation. I would be lying to say that, like, you know, I'm getting the home workouts in and I'm eating according to what I was eating before. Like, I mean, there's days that everybody like experiences where there's ups and downs. And personally for me, it's like, I've been going through, so just to kind of explain, and then I'll let you explain kind of like how you're doing in terms of like how you're managing. But just to give you an idea, so like when this first happened, I kind of like thought in my head, I was like, okay, this is going to be like a month. You know what I mean? So gyms are going to be closed for a month. Like, I didn't realize like the extremity of it and how severe it was going to be. So I was like, okay, I just kind of like, you know, they were closed, like I mentioned, on the 16th of March. And then it was like probably March 20th. And I didn't work out like since like they closed. And it was like 3 days. And I was thinking to myself, like, I don't even remember the last time I worked out. Like, I gotta get something on the go. I need to get some type of like home workout on the go. Like, this could be a while kind of thing. So like, to summarize what I'm trying to say, it's like my workouts started to slip, but my nutrition was still good. Like, I was still eating according to my macros, and I was kind of eating based on like what I should be eating if I was working out and based on my goals. But then I realized to myself, well, if I'm not working out, then I'm eating in a surplus, and like I'm going to be putting on a bunch of like unwanted body fat just for not working out. So I was like, well, contemplating maybe I should cut calories. So like my workouts were slacking, but my nutrition was good. And then like my nutrition went out the window and my workouts went. So like I wasn't doing either for like maybe a couple days at least, like 4 days. Like I was eating what I was like eating what I wanted. I didn't really like care. It was just kind of like, whatever, I'll eat when I want. Like I wasn't really structured as I was before. And I was like, this might be a good mental break, because I was so structured for like 2 years or 3 years. It's like head down, constantly grinding, like gym, eating, like sticking to everything. So I was like, this could be a good break. So like now what I'm starting to do is I'm starting to realize that like this could be like 5-6 months.
Man, I hope not, but you never know with this situation. It's crazy, man. And for me, honestly, like in the beginning of it, routine wise, I was still okay, but the workouts weren't as effective. The sleeping schedule took a hit the first week. I was waking up at 4, waking up at 7, waking up at 12. Like, it was really all over the place until a few weeks ago, which I got it down pat a few weeks ago. And as far as my attitude and my mood, I was getting mood swings, man. Like I wasn't. One day I was super quiet. One day I was more aggressive. Like, it's weird during this time. Like, I know it seems like something so little, but being able to go outside, feel the air hit you, breathing in that oxygen makes a
Yeah,
difference. Because that time when my mood was kind of everywhere, I was
yeah.
like, wow, like it's such a huge difference, so huge,
Oh
right?
yeah.
And I think in a lot of ways, the quarantine is affecting people in that way with their moods, and it's weird, man. It's
I
really
think you
interesting.
I think
Right?
you mentioned like a good thing with like the routines, right? Because I feel
Mhm.
like with anything, it's like that's the biggest thing for me. It's like I have a hard time doing like one thing really well. Like it's got to be a routine. So it's like if I'm nailing my nutrition, chances
Mhm.
are I'm nailing my workouts. But like once one thing, like once the workouts start to go, then the nutrition starts to go. So it's like I can do
Mhm.
two things really good. But
Mhm.
like once the workouts start to like stop going to the gym, then like the nutrition slacks off, or if like the vice versa, you know what I mean? So I think that you hit on a really good thing with like routines.
Mhm.
So in terms of like your routine, like did it change? Like I know you're normally up in the morning, like very very early. I don't know if like you're working from home or like what you're doing in terms of like or how you're dealing with your situation, but like did your routine kind of like did you find yourself like saying like, oh well, I don't need to go to the gym that early because I'm just like getting up and working out at home, or like did you have that thought process, or was it just kind of like, no, I need to
Mhm.
keep this routine together?
Honestly, I didn't, but I was dragging myself though to do it. I was dragging
Yeah,
myself. Harder to it was harder to make myself do it. I was thinking I have to do it, but it was very hard to just force yourself to do it. Like it's
yeah,
weird when you're sleeping all day and resting and chilling, which I like, which is why I'm doing all this right now to just stay like busy. It
yeah.
really affects the way you start to behave. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, no, like big time. I think like routines are extremely important, and like I kind of got into the routine where it was like I'd get what I needed done during the day, and then I would head to the gym around like in the afternoon, probably like 3 or 4, and like that
Mm-hmm.
was just the thing because that was when I was ready. So like I decided that like basically for me it was like it just never happened because like I drag on the day, and I think
Mm-hmm.
that like comes in terms of motivation. I think that like it's like it also impacts like what you have, and I feel like the satisfaction that you get out of the gym. Like some people like going to the gym, whereas other people like even if they had the equipment, like they might not work out. Do you know what I mean? Just because it's
Mm-hmm.
like it's so I think it also depends on like what kind of so like what kind of equipment do you have? Like what kind of like how did you adjust your training to
Oof.
accommodate?
Oh,
Because I know some of the stuff that like
I
you
have nothing here.
did, like
All I
deadlift
have
and
is
like
so basically I have a towel, so I wrap it around my door to do like
yeah.
pull-ups. Like there's a certain way you put like books under the opening of the door and put a
Okay, so
towel on
hold on.
top.
I want to ask you about that. Does
Mhm.
that work?
It really works because honestly, you're pushing down against the books, right? It's not
Yeah.
going to go through unless it goes
I,
through the
I
floor.
I was gonna try it like yesterday. I did a pull
Hmm.
workout yesterday, and
Hmm.
I was like contemplating it, and I put something underneath, and I was like, I don't know, like it doesn't. I seen
It'll be
everybody
good.
doing
It'll be
it, and
good.
I was like, I don't know, I don't want to be that one person who like who ends up
Yeah.
starting to film a video, and then it goes viral because the door breaks.
But yeah,
So,
I have nothing here. Just bottles, a towel, body weight exercises. Try to sometimes do higher intensity, sometimes do an extreme amount of reps until I can't feel anything. But other
yeah,
times, it's just trying to adjust to how your body feels with just body weight exercises.
and I think that another thing that I noticed too, it's like I think that you will come in like a lot of people are thinking, oh well, I got to do body weight, like it sucks, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
But I think that there's like I think there's a big advantage that people
Hmm.
don't realize to like how beneficial body weight exercises are. Like it
Hmm.
might not be like it might not be like flashing you're benching like 3 plates or whatever, but like or like whatever you're benching like 315 or 305. But it's
Yeah.
just like I think that at the end of the day, it's like I think people if you're sticking to the home workouts and you're religiously doing like a lot of good body weight exercises, I think a lot of people are going to be surprised that like when they go to the gym, when they go back, I
Mm-hmm.
think that like yes, you're going to lose strength because like at the end of the day, like strength is an acquired skill. Like
Hmm.
you have to in order to be good at the deadlift, like you have to deadlift, right? It's just kind of like it's something that you need to do in order to get better at, right?
Hmm.
Um, so like you can't really mimic that at home if you don't have like weight, right? But I think
Hmm.
like where the benefit comes is like the cardiovascular component, and like because it's a lot more challenging because I'm not counting reps, like I'm just kind of going, I'm training a lot more to failure. So a
Mm-hmm.
lot of my push-up sets are just like, maybe I'll set a total, maybe I'll be like, I want to do 100 push-ups, you know what I mean? And then like however many sets I do, if it's like 5 by, or like however, you know what I mean, however many I do, 10 by 10, or if I break it down into like different, like 4 by, or whatever I do, however I break it down. But like if I want to keep like 100 push-ups, like that will be my goal. But like I've been noticing that like my cardiovascular is definitely not where it needs to be.
Yeah, you
So
know what? For me too, the same thing. For me, I'm huffing and puffing more. I don't get why. I don't know if it's because of the hot air in the house, or I don't know why.
you do like I've been doing a lot of circuit training and like giant sets and stuff. So it's like
Mm-hmm.
if I'm doing like I went to a full body routine
Mm-hmm.
like a couple days, and then I was like, I hate this. Like I went to a modified push pull leg. So I was doing the same routine. I just modified it to like the home exercises that I had. So for me, it's like I'm not lifting as much, but like so like what I'm doing is I'm adjusting intensity. So like my volume is probably down, but my intensity is up. And,
So,
and my frequency is probably about the same. So I'm hitting like, well, it isn't about the same because I'm not getting the workouts in as much as I should. But if I was working out, like I should be, or as just as much as I plan to work out, I'd be doing like 6 days a week, right? I'd be
okay.
doing push legs, push pull legs, but like I'm making up with the intensity aspect, and I'm like wicked sore. Like I haven't been, like I normally don't get sore when I go to the gym. Like I mean, very rarely, like I will, unless I do something like very, like that workout that I did with you. I was sore after that from those
Yeah, that
push-ups
was a
that
good
we
workout. That was a good workout. That was
yeah,
a
that
nice
those
workout.
push-ups that we did, like remember those decline push-ups?
Yes,
Those
yes.
ones got me, man. Like they crept up on me. The next day, I was like, oh my god, I feel what it's like to be sore again. My upper chest was like completely annihilated. Um,
Yeah.
but I think that like these home workouts, like they're really, I'm kind of stringing it together to make it more intense.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's good too because I think a lot of people get distracted at home. Whereas in the gym, like the only distraction that you have is like staring at somebody else in the gym, or or
Exactly.
just like
Exactly.
being on your phone. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
so
it's
in terms,
really different. It's really
yeah,
different for sure. How long are your workouts? Like when you do it, when you do your ones
how
at
long are
home?
my workouts?
Yeah.
I would say my workouts are probably they're definitely a lot shorter than I would be at the gym. So normally I'd spend like probably an hour and a half at the gym.
Mm-hmm.
I would say they're probably about 45 minutes, 40 minutes.
That's
Yeah,
more than enough, honestly. That's
yeah.
really what you need. With the recording and all of that stuff, it takes longer
I find that they
for sure.
vary because like the push workouts I'm able to make longer
Mm-hmm.
because I have more.
Mm-hmm.
But like the pull workouts, like I said, I'm very limited with like what I have. What I've been doing though is I've been increased. So instead of like having exercise variety, so
Mm-hmm.
instead of like saying like I'm going to do 5 back exercises
Mm-hmm.
or like 4 bicep exercises or whatever,
Yeah.
I've been just limiting the exercises to like 3 exercises or 2 exercises and just increasing the sets.
Yeah. 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 More volume.
I'll literally do like 5 or 6 sets of like dumbbell curls. Do you know what I mean?
Mm, man, I wish I had dumbbells. What do I do to get dumbbells right now?
You have to watch
Man.
that video that I did where I created that homemade dumbbell.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Jeez, I didn't click on it. I don't know why.
Yeah,
I saw it somewhere. I saw it was it on Facebook. I think I saw it on Facebook. I'm like, oh,
yeah.
that's cool. Got to. I don't see. My attention span is no good either. Went to
No,
the
I don't
TikTok.
blame it. But yeah, no, I made it. How I made it was I made it out of cement,
Mm-hmm.
and it was fairly easy. Like I'm not by any means like a tradesperson. I mean, I'm not really handy with stuff like generally. So like me using cutting some PVC pipe with a hacksaw was the biggest challenge. But
Pretty
like
cool.
yeah, I made it. It was 30 pounds. And
Wow.
then I've been just like looking on Kijiji. Like I found like these crappy like sand plates, I guess they are, and like some of them are falling apart, but like they're
Wow.
better than nothing, right? So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Especially at this time, man.
yeah. So in terms of like your motivation, like how have like how have you adjusted? Like how is your motivation right now, or like what are some things that like you do that maybe like help you kind of like stay accountable, even like when because like you know what I mean, like everything's not always going to be smooth, everything's not always going to be like
Hmm.
perfect, but like how do you like almost embrace that? Because I think a lot of people have issues with that. Even when the gyms are open, people have issues going
Hmm.
to the gym.
Hmm.
So like how would you maintain your motivation, or what kind of things have you been finding have helped you?
So honestly, for me, for maintaining my motivation, you're just knowing my why. Like your why has to be so strong. Like
Yeah.
you have to be afraid almost not to achieve the why, and that's gonna make you take action regardless of how you feel that day. You know how sore you are, how tired you are. The why has to be really strong, and I think
Yeah.
that's where people struggle, not having that strong, clear cut why. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's like it's deep. It goes down to even like childhood almost sometimes for some people.
Yeah.
But it has to be that. It has to be like an emotional thing that gets you
Yeah.
going.
So for someone that doesn't really know, like, I
Like what?
understand, I understand what you're talking about. But like for somebody who
Hmm.
doesn't really understand like what your why is, I guess like how would you describe your why? And like has your from originally when you started working out, so like when you started lifting, has it changed or has it developed? Like kind of just go explain that a little bit.
Oh, okay. I like that question. It developed honestly because it started with childhood like pain kind of thing, and
Yeah.
then now it transferred over to trying to help other people not feel that same pain I felt when I was younger.
Yeah.
So it's actually to help people feel better about themselves. You know what I mean? Because I was very insecure when I was young, right? I was very insecure, and the gym was kind of a way to, or staying motivated was kind of a way to, I guess, forget.
Did you
It's kind
find
of a
that
way to.
did you find that like sports like did you find that playing sports helped with that, and then like as kind of sports like faded off, did you find that like you kind of found it through weightlifting? Was that kind of how it
Yes,
happened?
yes, yes. So I actually started with sports. Yeah, it started with sports, right? Just wanted to feel better, wanted to find my way, what I might be good at, what I might not be, and then transferred over to lifting over the years.
Yeah.
So basically, lifting happened because I was training for sports.
So in terms of your why, like just kind of explain like you know what I mean, what that is, or like I mean it could be different for everybody, but like everybody has a different reason. But I guess like generally like what would you say the why is in general for somebody that's like looking to kind of do some soul searching or just try to figure out like because they might subconsciously know, but like I
Mhm.
don't think a lot of people like really think about it. And like now when you're not going to the gym, like it's so easy to like forget, you know what I mean, if you don't
Mhm.
remind yourself. So I guess like just kind of briefly explain like yeah.
Hmm. Because honestly, it's hard because having your why is almost like saying figure out what you want to do for your life, right? It's something that comes over time. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Because
Yeah.
we experienced this when we're children and we grew up into the people we are today. So all the things we experience and our, I guess, our purpose for doing the things we do develops. So I think having a why, honestly, is just getting to know yourself as you grow. Right? I don't know if I said it in a way that makes sense, but it's
Yeah.
just something you have to find over time,
Yeah, and I
right?
think that
And it's
the way
something
that
that
the way that I would describe it is like to me it's like it's the emotion, do you know what I mean, that you
develops.
put into the reason to what you're doing. So it's
Mhm.
like if you're so to give you an example, it's like if you're working a job that you don't like and you're there, it can easily tell somebody that's doing something that they don't like to do. You know what I mean? So it's like because they're emotional about it and they're attached to it. So it's like the why is like some strong emotion that like you know what I mean? At the end of the day, like that should be the reason to why you started, or it's like if it was like a confidence issue, or if it was a feel better issue, or if it could be just as simple as to look better and like just simply be more attractive. Like if that's something that like, you know what I mean, ultimately fires you up or gets you back in the gym. And I think that
Mm-hmm.
like going into goal setting, a lot of people are like so attached on goal setting. And I think that like goals are extremely important, but there
Mm-hmm.
comes a point where like everyone thinks that it's a steady progression and it's like you're going to start down here and then it's just going to go right up. But you know what I mean? It's
Mm-hmm.
like eventually there's going to be dips and valleys. And it's like at the end of the
Exactly.
day, goals are extremely important to have. And I think everybody should have goals. But I think at the end of the
Mm-hmm.
day, it's like you've got to almost sometimes forget about your goals because right now you might not be able to achieve your goals because you don't have access to the gym. And like over time, it's more of like a long term thing. You know what I mean? It's like you're doing it because you will probably enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
But you also do it because there's a feeling attached to it. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that like once you attach a feeling to it, your goals just fall in place. Like
Exactly.
as long as you have those goals and as long as you like have some type of direction that you're going, showing up at the gym won't be a problem, or like putting in those home workouts won't be a problem because like as soon as you start to slip up, if you kind of remind yourself, like personally for me, my why is that like I wanted to prove people wrong, right? Like I always grew up where it was like I wouldn't say I was the best at like hockey or sports or whatever, but like I always felt that like people kind of like underestimated me, and just kind
Mm-hmm.
of like took for like less than I was worth. That was just kind of like that feeling that I had within me. And I was
Mm-hmm.
always like, you know what, if I'm going to get anywhere in life, it's going to be because of hard work. And I can like when I really set my mind to doing something, I can like really achieve it and I can really do it. So kind of how this kind of came about was hockey. It was like I didn't have the best genetics for hockey, so like
Mm-hmm.
I didn't hit a. I was a goaltender, so like I didn't. I was very short and like I didn't make any like the top teams,
Mm-hmm.
but like it didn't matter because I was still in the gym. I went to all the strength and conditioning camps. I went to the summer camps. I played summer hockey. I did all that, and like until I decided that like fitness and like I found my love for like fitness, and then I kind of got into bodybuilding a little bit, and like I found my love for bodybuilding like over time. I did my first show, and now like I'm down this endless road of like wanting to do more and being addicted. Kind of, but I think that like as I evolved, like I decided that like the prove me wrong thing was always very passionate for me because it was something that like I was doing for myself. You know what I mean? It wasn't. It almost seems like I'm trying to prove you wrong, or I'm trying to prove somebody else wrong on that. And people used to like. I remember I told my parents one time, and they were like, "Who?" Like, because what I did was I taped up a bunch of like pieces of paper with
Yeah.
prove wrong, and I
Mm-hmm.
taped them in my bedroom. I taped them in the bathroom. I taped them in the garage. I taped them in the basement. And my parents, like,
Yeah. Yeah.
after like seeing them for 3 days, they were like, "Why do you have all these things taped to like the bedroom? Like, what's going on?" And I was like, "It just reminds me." Do you know what I mean? Like, as soon as I
Yeah.
get up and look at that sign, it just sparks
Mm-hmm.
that like initial thing to be like, I got to get up. I got to eat something good. I got to go out. I got to like, you know what I mean? So it just constantly reminded. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I think that that was my biggest thing. So like now, kind of to stay motivated, I think it just comes down to like, you know what I mean, being able to be dedicated. I think is a different thing than being motivated.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think that like you have to really, you know what I mean. You can't really kind of want it. You got to really want it.
Gotta be obsessed. You
Yeah,
gotta be
like
up.
when
You
it comes to
gotta
fitness,
be.
because like every day is a new day. Every day is like a new day to get better, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and people don't realize that like every day is a brand new day, and like you getting up extremely early in the morning, like you said, or like you said, like you're always super excited to get up. You know what I mean? And like going to bed is like not your favorite part. So,
No, you're missing something. I don't know. I don't know, man. You're
but I
asleep
think
like it. Nothing's happening, right?
yeah, I think
You
you
just
got to be able to like understand that like every day is a good chance to get better. You know what I mean? To improve something. And I think too many people try to be too perfect with things. It's like, and I'm guilty with myself too. Like I mentioned, like once one thing goes, everything goes.
mm,
And that's on me to fix. But like I'm not saying like I'm perfect and I'm preaching this as like, I'm doing everything perfect and like listen to me, blah blah blah. I'm not saying none of that. I'm just saying that
mm,
like I think people like get too picky about it, and they,
mm,
they listen to all these people saying that everything has to be like you have to do this to gain the most amount of muscle, you have to perform this, that, you know what I mean? Everything just kind of like, and I think at the end of the day it's just like you can't be perfect. And when it comes to the home workouts, I think that people get frustrated with them because like you're not feeling as fulfilled. Like when I do a home
mm,
workout, I get a pump because like I have resistance bands and I have a couple dumbbells, so I do get like a slight pump. but it's like a different feeling, right?
It's not the
So
same. It's not the same,
yeah,
and
it's
it
it's
can discourage a
completely
lot of people. It can
yeah.
discourage a lot of people. And I can see why, but you can't let it. Can't let it.
So kind of like what? So in terms of like your the client, like the clients that you have, the people that you're working with,
Mm-hmm.
or the people that you're helping, like are you finding that people what's the number one, like have you had anybody kind of say like, or like adjusting their programs, I guess it's like what are you doing to kind of like accommodate people that are in same like and in the same situations that you are?
So honestly, now is the main focus is diet,
Yeah,
right? 'Cause you're not gonna be able to eat the same, and because you're not training the same, and you're always inside, and your activity levels are lower. So just for me, honestly, I'm just trying to maybe cut the carbs down a little bit for them. Um, Higher the fats, the protein
yeah,
stays the same, and calories are kind of change around depending on what they did that day. But now it's everything. Yeah, everything is pretty much adjusted because of being at home. Even for me, like I can't eat. I'm not gonna be able to eat what I was eating before. Not even that. You're not even that hungry. You notice
yeah.
that too? You're not even that hungry.
No, I've lost my appetite. There's days where like I could literally just eat breakfast and then like eat dinner and that's it. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
it's
And then like
weird.
go to bed. But like then there's other days where I wake up and my like the day that I started doing some, so what I started doing was like I was in the same boat and I was like, you know what, I'm eating a little bit too much because like I'm not burning those calories, and I'm
Mm,
like, should I be bulking or should I be cutting? So then
mm,
I was like, you know what, I'm gonna do like a mini cut or kind of like adjust my calories down to kind of do like eating a deficit for a bit, because at the end of the day it's like I would like to go into the gym at like a little bit skinnier versus a little bit bigger,
yeah,
because
yeah,
then I have more room to grow, right? Because then I can like
exactly.
continue my bulk a little bit more when I actually get back to the gym versus
Mm,
being at like peak bulk and
mm,
then just
mm.
looking like no shape, no definition, no, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
I kind of would like to be in a little bit, like lose a little bit of weight.
Mm-hmm.
So I started doing some walking, like some just like light walking. I think we had a couple nice days here. I think was it yesterday? I'm pretty sure it was yesterday. It was like 19 degrees or something.
Mm-hmm.
And it was pretty sunny. So like I went out for a walk, but I just found that like my hunger just completely ramped up. Like I
Yeah,
wasn't like
walking.
all day. I went for a walk. I probably got back around like 4 o'clock, close to supper time.
Mm-hmm.
And all I had like before I went was breakfast, which was like a little bit of oatmeal, some eggs, some egg whites, and just some fruit.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then I went for the walk, and then as soon as I got back, I probably ate like 3 or 4 meals in in like the span of like 30 minutes in between. Like I had, as soon as I got back from the walk at like 4 o'clock, I had like, I guess you'd call it supper.
Mm-hmm.
And then like 30 minutes later, I had like another meal, and then like an hour later, I had another meal. I was just my hunger. I just felt like I just had to like
So
keep eating.
weird. It's so weird. And did it happen just when you went out to take the walk? Like the
Yeah, like
hunger
my,
spiked
my
up?
my metabolism just completely like turned into overdrive, and it was just like I didn't feel like low blood sugar or nothing, like lightheaded or nothing. It was just like that, like, you know, that intense hunger that you get sometimes when you go to the gym and you're like, I
You
don't know,
do
it's
extreme
great to
amount of
go
cardio.
feel.
So weird. Maybe I'll try that tomorrow. Maybe I'll go for a
Yeah,
little walk.
increase cardio, like, and then another thing on top of that before I forget,
Mm,
in terms of like advice for you and for clients as well, I found
mm.
another thing that helped was like step counters.
Okay.
So like I don't know if
Oh,
you've got like a watch, like I have actually this thing sitting right here, I'll show you.
need to
I have
invest in.
this thing, this is like
Yeah.
a gear watch, I think it is.
Okay.
um, but like you can get an app on your phone.
Mm,
And the reason why I like it is because normally I don't, because normally I'm pretty active, but I
mm,
think that like it creates a challenge. So if you say like I want to get 5,000 steps today, or I want to get
mm.
6,000 steps today,
Yeah.
you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Mm-hmm.
Then you're gonna have some type of challenge. So from a client perspective, like I find that I have like I want to start implementing this with one of my clients probably next week whenever I figure out like how many steps you should be eating, you know what I mean? Like until I figure it out. But I think it's a good way to kind of like challenge somebody to say, okay, like I'm going to take the long way to the bathroom, or I'm going to go, you know what I mean? I'm going to go take the
Yeah, that's
stairs, or
a good thing. Yeah, I like that. I like it.
because like you're increasing your steps, therefore like it's making you get active. And like there's times where I'm going from my computer to the fridge to the coach to the computer to the fridge to the coach, and like I'm literally in a small 1 bedroom apartment, and that
Mm,
might be like 100 steps in the run of a day.
mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So like by getting that need up, and by increasing like my steps and like subconsciously thinking like, oh, and I look down at my thing and I'm like, oh, I'm only at 1,000 steps today. Well, I should go for a walk, or I should like go pace a little bit more, or I should, you know what I mean? Just get up and move,
Yeah.
like walk around my apartment, even though we're supposed to be like self-isolating. But I think that like even if you were to walk around your bedroom or walk like, you know what I mean, like stand up at your computer desk, or just like instead of sitting on the couch on your phone, like walk around your apartment on your phone. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just get up
Yeah.
and get moving. And I think that if you set that challenge and like you have a step goal, you're going to be more motivated to kind of say, okay, it can create a new challenge versus like progressively overloading in the gym. So it's like if you're going and you're like, I want to load up today. Like I want to be doing, I want to add 5 pounds to this lift today. You know what I mean? Instead of having that challenge, like if you're that kind of person that like needs that challenge to go to the gym to kind of say like, I want to try this today, or I seen this, I want to give this a try. I think the step counter is a realistic thing that you can kind of like challenge yourself with, because not everybody has weights, but everybody has feet, you know what I mean? So they can get moving.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. I was even doing that every time I go to the washroom. I'll pick like any exercise. So today it could be squats. So every time I go to the bathroom, I gotta do 50 squats. So if I go to the bathroom,
Awesome.
this sounds funny, but I'm doing it for a bit. So if you go to the bathroom 10 times, you have 500 squats to do. If you go to the bathroom, you got 100 squats to do. So I just pick a certain exercise and do a certain amount of reps per time I go to the bathroom. I was doing that. That's pretty good. On the
Yeah.
days
And
I
I
had
mean,
to do that, I had to pee more. I had to use the bathroom more. I didn't understand. Right?
yeah,
So
and I think that's an awesome way to kind of like incorporate it, like just to kind of like, you know what I mean? And I think setting a goal too, like I want to do 100 squats today. And I think a lot of people like, they're so used to loading heavy and like doing squats. It's like, it's not the same thing. But at the end of the day, I think the most important thing is just to stay moving. You know what I mean? Like
exactly.
if you're not building muscle, like at this time, like at least get moving and then like at least like burn some calories, or like
Exactly.
another thought process that I like too is to like focus on other things.
Mm-hmm.
So the big thing for me was like to increase my motivation. It's like maybe my motivation before was to like to build muscle. You know what I mean? Like that was my motivation, was to do like a clean bulk or a lean bulk and kind of build like the most optimal muscle that I could in a surplus. Whereas now I'm taking the time to focus on the things that I didn't have time to before. So, for example, like how it relates to the gym, like mobility has always been very bad for me. Like, like I am the worst. Like in terms of like right now, I'm sitting like pretty bad. Like my posture is like horrible.
No,
Um,
horrible.
so, and like my flexibility and like I'm absolutely horrible with like I don't know how I didn't get injured. Like now that I'm doing it, like so I made it like a thing to like that was one thing I wanted to work on, was like my mobility, my flexibility, because those are things that you can do, right? Like you don't need weights to do those. So like I haven't been really following through the way that I intended, but my mindset's there. You know what I mean? And like I'm getting motivated to do it when I do it. So I think it's like giving me some type of like motivation to do it. So I try to do like some type of morning stretching routine, or I try to incorporate it during the day somehow. Whereas like if it's not in the morning, then like if I'm working out that day, I try to do it after my workout. So for me personally, like my lower back has always been an issue for me. I mean, probably from like some past jobs and just like lifting weights, just a bad posture too. So I don't really know what the cause of it is, but like my right side of my lower back has always been an issue. It doesn't hurt when I lift weights, but it gets extremely tight. So I've been trying to like I've been trying to do like mobility exercises to take my back through the range of motion, try to strengthen up some of like the stabilization joints, like some of the supporting structures, like trying to really like strengthen my glutes, strengthen like you know what I mean, like my hip flexors and just like muscles around it.
Yeah, glutes is
So
a big one for back problems.
yeah.
Big one.
Yeah, and I find that like just taking the time and focusing on like something else and trying to be productive in something that I can, instead of worrying about like what you can't control. So like instead of worrying about like, oh, I can't like bench today, or I can't squat today. Well, you can squat, but you can't squat heavy today. So it's like instead of like not focusing on that and getting too caught up with like that, I think like distracting yourself and saying, okay, I can't do that, but I'm going to work on my flexibility. I'm going to work on my mobility. I can do bicep curls because I have you know what I mean, weight. So I'm going to focus on maybe bringing up my biceps or doing more bicep curls. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so I think that's like developing like almost like some type of different mind shift as opposed to
Yeah.
like shifting your goals.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think is a big thing.
Yeah.
So,
This is gonna separate a lot of people for sure,
mhm.
mentally, because
Yeah,
honestly, if you're good, you'll be able to adapt. You know what I mean? It shouldn't matter if you have weights or just your body, right? You should be able to transition over. Just a learning curve. Just have
and I,
to
yeah, and I
whatever
think
situation.
everybody that says like they're not struggling, like they are. You know what I mean? Like it's like
Yeah.
unless you like literally just like didn't go to the gym and
Mm,
like worked out in a home gym,
mm,
then you're not struggling because it's just part of your routine. But they're like everybody is struggling in some regards. Like you know
yeah.
what I mean? Like if it's just like a little bit of motivation, like you can like pretend that like you're not. Like you know what I mean? At the end of the day, I feel like everybody has like everybody's affected in some way, whether or
Yeah.
not it's just like more stress. Like maybe they're getting the workouts in.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they're just a little bit more stressed. And like obviously we all know like the impact on stress, right? Like stress
Mm-hmm.
can like dramatically impact everything,
Yeah,
right?
man. Like, yeah, it's really it's a blessing in disguise almost too, because it's a lot of time. It's a lot of time. Like
Yeah.
1,000 hours. I counted, man. 1,000 hours of quarantine went by. Like it's scary to think you did nothing the whole time, but that scares me. That
Yeah.
really scares me. All right. So if you're someone like you and I, like being productive with the time, we can get out of this really like ahead. Right? Like this is a lot of time. Like that's the blessing of it.
Yeah.
But other than that, like you're just about trying to transition over, right? And that's another way it can be motivated. Just trying to learn a different way, right?
Yeah. So in terms of like setting like realistic goals, so like how would you kind of like what kind of like advice would you give to somebody who's like trying to like maybe they're doing similar stuff to what you're doing, but like how would you how would you kind of like help somebody set realistic goals like during this time to kind of like you know what I mean? If somebody's struggling with like, oh well, I don't know what I'm doing, I'm just doing it and I feel like I'm getting nowheres and I'm spinning my tires, you know what I mean? How would you kind of like
Mm-hmm.
motivate them to kind of like get through this and get back to the gym and then continue doing what they were doing? Like what kind of advice would you give to somebody who's kind of like in a rut, I guess?
Right. Oh boy. Honestly, I'll try to get them to remember when they were in the situation before that they overcame. That may have been harder than this, because I know a lot of us have overcome something that we may have thought we couldn't. I
Yeah.
just remind them of that. I just remind them of that and say that they can do the same thing again.
Yeah, and I think that like past accomplishments is like huge because like it demonstrates their ability to kind of like do you know what I mean? Because a lot of people forget like their achievements and like we all know like we mentioned at the start, like time just flies by, right?
Mm-hmm,
And I think
mm-hmm,
that like people forget like what they achieved and like a lot of people will lose track like you said of like what their goals are and kind of like this rut could just be caused by like a lot of like confusion, do you know what I mean? And like not necessarily knowing like what to do
mm-hmm,
because they've never been in a situation. Everybody kind of when they start off and they go to the gym, it's like you might have started in the basement or you might have started doing push-ups. So it's like I think a lot of people think of it as as beginner. You know what I
mm-hmm.
mean? And they kind of like set themselves up to failure right off the bat because they don't like I think they don't realize first of all that there's millions of things you can do. You know what I mean? At home to burn calories or to like there's push-ups, there's pay and release push-ups, there's pipe push-ups, there's tons of different variations of push-ups that you can do. You can do like fly push-ups where you get like sliders and you do
Mm-hmm.
flies. You can do uneven push-ups where you put like one hand on a book and the other one on the floor and you do uneven. Then you can do like reverse hand push-ups. So there's tons of different like there's a million different variations that you can do.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of people just say, "Oh, I don't want to do push-ups," or "I don't," and it's just like they just get stuck in that mindset of just they're setting themselves up for failure, whereas just kind of like embracing it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think that's a
Mm-hmm.
lot of the problems that, and that was one of the problems that I, yeah,
Sometimes I think someone else needs to see someone else getting results from doing what they don't want to do. So like maybe they say they don't want to do push-ups. Maybe you could be doing push-ups and show you have results. And oh, I want to try it now. He's
Yeah.
doing good. So I don't know. This is just psychological in many ways.
Yeah. It's like I think that's 100% true. Like a lot of people psych themselves out right before they even do it, right? Like it's like I think mindset is like huge, right? When it comes to doing anything, like you have to be in the right mindset, and it can definitely be difficult to kind of get there.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that like I think one of the things that really hit home for me, it's like the most successful and the people or the most successful people in the world didn't get to where they wanted to do because they wanted to do everything that they did.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? Like there comes a time where like you have to do something when you don't want to do it. Like not everything is going to be like, oh yeah, I feel 100% for this workout. Like every day I wake up and I'm going. I love going to the gym. It's like I love
Never,
eating egg whites.
never.
It's like there's going to be times where you absolutely love it, and
Mm-hmm.
like there should be because you're doing it because you enjoy it. No one's forcing you. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? To do it. Like it's up. Like at the end of the day, you could just sit on the couch all day and spend 5 months. You know what I mean? Eating Doritos and playing video games.
And scary,
But
man. Scary.
yeah,
It's scary. This is time, man. Like time is life. I keep saying that, but it's true. Like with every hour that passes, is every hour less that you have. Like it's so important for people to know that like time is just precious, and I appreciate my time here. I want to make the most out of each one. All right, with the people I talk to and the things I do, because it's just taken so for granted. All right,
yeah,
'cause 1,000 went by just like that, and it doesn't feel like it. It felt like 2 weeks went by, but really in a month and a half. Like, that's pretty
absolutely
scary.
flew.
Yeah, like it's wow. How old are you?
I'm 30.
Curious, does it feel like that much time went?
No, like I like honestly, like I would say like my like uh I would say the starting of the 20s flew. Like a lot of people say the back end of the 20s are like flyby, but I
Mm-hmm.
found it the opposite. I found like the starting of the 20s, so like from 20 to 25 like
Mm-hmm.
flew by for some
Mm-hmm.
reason. Like I was like next thing you know I turned 20, and the next thing you know I turned 25. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? But then like from 25 to 30 it was like it felt like 10 years.
Wow.
You know
Wow.
what I mean? But like generally like when you're doing anything and you're consistent with anything,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like time just gradually speeds up because you're just so focused on the same thing all the time. It's like you're going to the gym, like you're going to bed early so you can wake up early in the morning so you can, get what you need to get done. Then you can go to the gym. Then you can get what else you need done. Next thing you know, you're trying to get your meals in, you're eating, and then you're going to bed. And
Mm-hmm.
it's just those days can just kind of move into one. Like 2 days can feel like, you know what I mean? They just roll steamroll if you're constantly doing the same thing. And I think with like fitness, like we all know the
Mm-hmm.
importance of consistency, right? So like
Mm-hmm.
consistency is huge. So I think that's one of the reasons to like why time just flies is because you get into a routine, you get in like the ball is rolling, and in order for the ball to stop rolling, there has to be something abrupt
Mm-hmm.
like this. Do you know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
To
Yeah.
kind of hit the ball and be like, all right, now what are you gonna do? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, what are you gonna do now to get the ball back rolling? And then like now for the people that are sticking to their home workouts, I bet you this quarantine's gonna fly by. You know what I mean? Because like they're making do, they're getting by, and the next thing you know, the gyms are open. But the people who are sitting back and getting stressed out about it and overthinking it, being like, "Oh, I don't want to work out," it's going to
Uh,
go by extremely slow for those people because they're just waiting for the gyms to open. You know what I mean? First,
I refuse to
yeah,
stop. No way. No way. I can't. Even if I fall down, let me fall through the ground. Like, nah, I can't. It's just unacceptable to just give up. Like, it's just, no. You just, I don't know, you're giving up on yourself, right?
yeah,
Like if you really feel you're important as a person, you shouldn't just say no, I don't matter, and I shouldn't keep going, right? I know that sounds a bit extreme, but like you shouldn't give up on yourself, right? Because
yeah.
it's about worth.
I think people are way too quick to pull the plug, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like they don't give themselves enough credit. Like you shouldn't be able to get kicked down once and that's it. You know what I mean? It should take hundreds of hundreds. You know what I mean? Like there's going to be hundreds of things that come in a lifetime, like even more. Like people want to get married, people want to have kids, people want to travel, people have jobs, people have responsibilities. Like they all come in terms of a lifetime. And if you picture fitness as like a lifetime, and to get where you need to go, there is no end point. There's just to achieve the best result that you can. Do you know what I mean? With the time that you got while living like a healthy, happy lifestyle, right? So I think that people are way too quick to be like, oh, something happened. Now it's like, you know what I mean? Now they just pull the plug way too quick. They don't bounce back. They don't give themselves enough like they don't, maybe they don't have the support. Do you know what I mean? I think support is huge.
That's a good one. Yeah, that's a good
Yeah.
one.
And I think that like people are just maybe they don't have the people around them to kind of like, and especially it's tough now because everyone's isolated. You don't know who's alone.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
because like some
Mm-hmm.
people could literally be living in like a 1 bedroom apartment
Mm-hmm.
and like being by themselves, and like that could have been fine like when they were going to the gym and seeing their gym friends and like meeting people. But like now that they don't have that,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, obviously social media is huge. Like they can talk to people online and stuff, but like they might be feeling, you know what I mean, a little bit worse because of that.
Yeah,
So I
yeah.
think that like the support system that you have by going to the gym,
Mm-hmm.
like I personally like going to the gym. It's like I don't like talking to everybody. Like I'm not really like I don't go to the gym and I don't say hi to every single member, and like you know what I mean? Like I'm not that social, but like I do like the atmosphere.
Yeah.
I like the feeling of like showing up to the gym and leaving. You know what I mean? It's like that sense of accomplishment, like from when you walk into the door and you know that like the music's going in, the workout's getting done, and then you'll worry about everything else after that workout, right? So I like that feeling of accomplishment that you get. But I think that support has, you know what I mean? You have to have it. There's a lot of people that can do it by themselves. Like people that can, like they deserve a lot of credit, like that just are able to kind of like understand that they have to do it.
Mm-hmm.
But I've never really, well, I guess I've been half and half. There's been times like where I wanted to give up, you know what I mean? Where it was just like, all right, like maybe, this isn't for me, or maybe like, you know what I mean? But most of those thoughts come like when I'm lying in bed.
Man, yeah, yeah, yeah. A lot of us do. I have it sometimes. I'm not gonna lie. I have it sometimes.
Yeah. And it's like, is this all really worth it? Right. Like, is it,
Man. So
but it's
so
like, those are the thoughts that you just got to like, they're late night thoughts, you know what I mean? And those are the ones that like, you're not thinking straight. Like I heard like a saying, I forget exactly what it was, but it was like, don't let your actions get dictated by your emotions.
mm-hmm.
So it's like going back to what we said, like you might not feel like working out today, but if you 100%, like if you're not injured, you know what I mean? If like you're not sore, like you can physically work out today, and it's just your emotions that's saying, oh, come on, we're not working out today. Like we don't want to go to the gym. We'd rather sit around and do nothing. It's like, don't let your emotions dictate like your action. Like find a
Mm-hmm.
way to kind of like block out that voice in your head that we all get, where it's like, oh God, I got to pack my gym bag. I got to get, you know what I mean? I got to go to the gym after work today. Like, I don't really want to do that. I think it's like your ability to block that out and like just say, you know what? No, I'm not. I'm going to the gym today. I'm not letting like, you know what I mean? Me being tired. Like everybody's tired. Like, and I think it's the ability of people to be able to like understand when it's tired and when it's just people being lazy. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a real tired and then there's a real lazy. So
You just gotta block it off. It's always gonna be there, and it's just like lifting a dumbbell. The more you say no to it and just act on what you're supposed to do, the easier it gets.
yeah.
And the more you pass it off, and the more you become lazy, the easier it's gonna be to become lazy.
So
Like
I so
just
I have
as easy.
so I have a couple things that came to my mind. So in terms of I have so two things. So the first thing to kind of end this on like the motivation thing. So it's like, what would be your biggest piece of advice that you would have for somebody, like your one biggest piece of advice that, and in terms of like, it could be just to get through this quarantine or through this pandemic, or it could just be like fitness in general. Like what's one thing that kind of like really resonates with you in terms of like something that like not necessarily the why, because we kind of talked about that, but just
Mhm.
like one biggest piece of advice that you kind of would give somebody.
My biggest piece of advice. is never underestimate the little progress you make. Like a lot of people like think they have to achieve big things, right? But
Yeah.
forget the little things they did. Even the fact that I woke up 2 days in a row at the same time early in the morning, that's something, right?
Yeah.
My advice, honestly, would be not to take those little, little wins lightly. Know what I mean? Appreciate them, right? Because with those little wins, they're gonna become a bigger win. So making sure you really don't take it for granted. That would be my advice.
Yeah. I think that like my biggest piece of advice is just like just to stay true to yourself. Do you know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
follow something you believe in and do something because you enjoy doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Don't just do it because like don't just do it for somebody else. Do you know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
make sure that like because like nowadays like if social media disappeared and there was no Instagram, there was no Facebook, there was no nothing, would you
Mm-hmm.
still be working out? Like
Definitely,
would you still be you know what I mean? Would you
100%.
still be going to the gym? Would you still be like
Question.
yeah, but you know what I mean? Like and I think a lot of people might answer that not truthfully.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of people would be like, well, if there's no social media, there's no way for me to, share my pictures, share my thoughts. You know what I mean? It's like that's awesome. Like that's great. Like that's the whole like sharing your fitness journey and inspiring and motivating others is like the best, like one of the best feelings. You know what I mean? But at the
Mm-hmm.
end of the day, you have to have goals for yourself. Like you have to do it for yourself. You have to like you can't just say that you're inspiring and motivating others if you don't want to do it yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
I think at the end of the day, if like everything were to disappear, like would you still be there? Would you still be at the gym? Would you still be, you know what I mean? Would you be getting those workouts in instead of just filming the workouts? Like it's great to say like, like yeah, like it's cool or whatever, and like I get more motivation from filming things. But like
Mm-hmm.
at the end of the day, it's like I think that you have to stay true to yourself, and I think that like it has to mean something to you. Like it really has to like it has to be something that like is truly of value.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that kind of relates back to what you said with like the progress. Like, yeah, your progress is going to slow down, but like really appreciate those small results, like whatever it is. If it's like, you know what I mean, a little bit more definition in your chest, or like maybe you kind of like, I don't know, got stronger. Like maybe you added 5 pounds to your deadlift. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't have to be world records. Like it can be
Exactly.
like whatever,
So,
whatever's achievement, right?
mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's a really big one, man. Because a lot of people get discouraged. I didn't lose enough weight. I didn't, but you made progress. You made
Yeah,
progress. That's good enough. Like a lot of people don't even make progress, right? And with a little bit of progress comes more progress. So every little, and this is why too, when you're discouraged and things aren't working out, those are the kind of things you can remind yourself. I made progress here today. I made progress there that time.
yeah,
So maybe I can do this. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So it's not really. So when to say be confident, that's where it comes from knowing that you did something successful in the past and that you
yeah,
can do. You know what I mean? It's not a thing of acting.
yeah.
It's a thing of evidence. You've done it before, right? You've been successful before. That's where confidence really comes from. My
And I think that like a lot of people think that you have to measure progress, like,
mm-hmm,
but like sometimes progress isn't always measurable. So
mm-hmm,
like what I mean by that, like changing habits,
mm-hmm,
you know, like improving like habits. Like let's say like you were like, you know what I mean? You were overeating by like, or like you were like eating a little bit more junk than you wanted. You know what I mean? Like don't just try to eliminate everything, eliminate something very slowly. And I think that like people like, or just like make different tweaks in your day, like wake up half an hour earlier. You know what I mean? Or
mm-hmm,
go to bed a half an hour earlier, or like or learn something new every day, like
exactly.
read something, like instead of like going on social media, like take your time to like educate something, read the news, or read something that's a little bit more value
Exactly.
versus like something else. I think that like that can be progress too. Like it doesn't necessarily have to be like, you know what I mean, you're trying to better yourself as an individual. So I think that like progress sometimes might not be measurable. It might not be like losing 5 pounds, you know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean, or like building better.
That's
So
a really good. Yeah, that's a really good one. And honestly, too, the ones that are measurable do more. The ones
for people they do, yeah, for sure.
that's a lot more. because reading, like for example, learning something new each day. If you learn something new each day for a whole year, you're not really like measuring that. You can be really like knowledgeable from doing that, and that's with example. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So it's like that's a really good example. That's a
yeah, yeah, and I think that people like definitely underestimate like, you know what I mean? Like instead of like trying to measure something, just like being able to make slight tweaks, like you
mm,
know what I mean, into like what you're currently doing that like is going to have like maybe not as noticeable an impact or something that you can't physically say that like right off the bat that it's helping. Because like if I went to bed like if I went to bed like half an hour earlier, you know what I mean, I don't think it would really do that much.
mhm,
If I went to bed like an hour, you know what I mean, or an hour or two earlier, like it probably would. But I
mhm.
think that like those small changes will lead to like bigger changes. Then
Exactly.
then maybe if you're going to bed every night at midnight and you want to start going to bed at 10 o'clock, you know what I mean,
Mhm.
start meet yourself in between, you know what I mean, say I'm going to go to bed at 11 o'clock, you know,
Exactly.
and then start going to bed at 11,
That's a
and
good
then
one too.
yeah,
We'll slowly
because
doing.
that's going to impact everything. Like that's going to impact your mood. You're going to wake up feeling better. You're going to be less tired. You're probably not going to be on your phone for that hour. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean? Because you're going to be like, well, instead of staying up to 12 o'clock being on my phone, like I'm going to bed at 11, so I shouldn't be on my phone. I'm going to go to bed.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So kind of like creating habits and like because like routines and habits lead to like results. Like they lead to things that like you're going to achieve. You know what I mean? Like everything that you do, like you needed to be consistent with it for the most part. Like if it's worthwhile achieving, like you
Mm-hmm.
don't just like doctors just don't like magically appear. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like they go to school, they put in the time, they put in whatever they need to do to become a doctor,
Yeah.
and then next thing you know, like however long, 10 years later or whatever it is, to like whatever, like a lawyer or a doctor, however, like I don't even know how long you have to go to school for that. Like let's say it's 10 years, and
Mm-hmm.
then you finally get your own practice, and then you're so.
Mm-hmm.
I think that anything requires like consistency, and I think people just want it like too quick. They want like overnight results.
Yeah.
So
It's it's really hard to explain to a beginner, but they it's like if there's someone that actually like started and commits to it, they can see that it takes a lot of time to do this stuff and really master it to where you feel at peace. It
yeah,
really takes a lot. Even to wake up early. I've been waking up early for a long time before being
you
like,
know what stuck with me. You know what you said to me that really stuck with me
mm.
was when we worked out that time, and you said getting up in the morning never ever gets easier.
Yeah, it's funny, right? Like you
Like
think
I
you
remember you said that
easier,
to me when I think we were leaving or something. I was like, man, I can't believe like it's so early. Because we were leaving from the workout and it was like wicked. That was wicked early for me because normally I get up at like 10 o'clock or something. Like I think I
yeah,
forget what time we worked out. It was probably like 7 or 6 or something. But like I remember I was leaving or something and I was like, oh wow. I looked at the clock. I was like, wow, it's pretty early. And you're like, yeah, but like, and then I don't know if you said it then or if you said it sometime, but you said like waking up is never as easy. Like I've been waking up this like at this time forever, but like it's never got easy. You know what I
yeah, it's
mean?
weird, man. Like, and I also do it too because it's the mental. Because every time you're up, that you try to talk yourself out of it. Every single
Yeah,
morning, you're not. I I lay down there, the alarm's going in the other room. I'm like, can I just leave it on so I can go back to bed? And
yeah.
the reason I have it in the other room so I can get out, turn the lights on, and turn it off, and by that time I'm awake.
That's a good idea.
It
Yeah.
doesn't get easier though. Like it's just something, and it's not something I always like doing. No, I like doing it because for me, like I can slow down with the tasks I have for the day and
Mm,
get the thing done, like more things done between like when I wake up and now.
yeah.
But it's still something easy to do, right?
Yeah.
Even with being consistent, it's still going to be sometimes like difficult to maintain. So you just got to find the motivation to keep going.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, I think that like for me, the biggest thing is just to do it right, like just to get up. Like I think that's
Mm-hmm.
the struggle. Is just like I said before, acting on your emotions, right? Like
Yeah.
going back to like just like you're trying to convince yourself of all the reasons why you don't want to get up. You know what I mean? Like from that one, like that 2 minutes, like that you're spent in bed, like your alarm is set for like let's say it's set for 5. From
Mm,
5 o'clock in the morning to 5:02, you've got a million reasons that are going through your head that are
exactly.
like, why shouldn't I get up today? Like today, no, it'll be one day that I won't. Like I'll just, you know what, today doesn't matter. I'll
Yeah.
get up tomorrow. And it's just like you just have to like, no matter how tired, even if you get up with your eyes closed, like I wouldn't recommend that because you might trip. But even if you have to get up like with your eyes closed just to get out of bed, I think that like that really resonates. It's just like it doesn't get easier, and like I think that can kind of like go full circle with like fitness. You know what I mean? In terms of just like the whole fitness thing, like it never gets easier. Like it gets harder. Like when you first start working out, you see like all these results. Like you're like for the first year of lifting weights or year and a half of lifting weights, like you
You
make
love
amazing progress. It's like almost like you're on drugs, right? Because like you're losing weight, you're building muscle, you look leaner, you look better, and then like after 2 or 3 years, or depending on like your genetics, like it's everything starts to slow down, and you're like, okay, where did everything go? Like, am I doing everything right? You know what I mean? But I think at the end of the day, it's just like it comes down just to like putting in the work. You know what I mean? And just doing it regardless.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? Because not everything is going to be easy. And I think a lot of people don't realize that, like, even getting up, something as simple as getting up in the morning, it's like,
Man.
it never gets easier, and neither does like working out. And there's always going to be reasons to why you can't do something, you know what I mean? But there's always that one reason to why you should.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that that's what you should listen to more, is like that one reason. Like you could have like, if you had a diagram, there was 1,000 reasons on this side and only that one reason on this side, always go with that one reason, because that's probably like the most logical one. That's probably the one that's like, oh, I could get up and I could do some extra studying, or I could get up and do some extra meditation, or I could get up and do some extra listening to some music and relaxing, drinking coffee, or like whatever it is that gets you.
And the
So
funny thing is, whenever you wake up, and I kid you not, there was one morning I woke up and I stood there. I stood there for 10 to 15 minutes, like talking to myself, trying to talk myself into going back to bed. As soon as I start working out, 30 minutes later, I feel awesome. Like it's so like your brain will always try to find ways to make you not do what you're supposed to do. Like it's just your brain just wants you to survive.
it's always easier to do like the easiest one, right? That's
Mm-hmm.
always the easiest. It's like the easiest is always to stay in bed.
Yeah,
You know what
yeah,
I mean? And not get up, or like it might be to not even get the home workouts in. Do you know what I
yeah.
mean? Because like that's the easiest. Like it's so easy just to be like, oh, I'm gonna sit on the couch and do absolutely nothing. Do you know what I
Man.
mean?
And it
But
feels so good. It feels so good sitting there being lazy and sleeping. Oh my gosh. Like I'm
it,
not.
it feels good for like until you're on day 4. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? You're like, okay, like I should probably get up and do something. It's nice to take a little break, you know what I mean? But like same thing goes with like sleeping in, you know what I mean? Like I started to realize, like I started like getting up a little bit earlier, and I've
Mhm.
been noticing that like, yeah, I'm going to bed a little bit like earlier in the evening, you know what I mean? But I found that like I'm starting to find like a little bit of enjoyment in it, of
Mhm.
like getting up in the morning. I just find that like it's different for me, and like I'm finding that like I was never really a morning person. I was never really productive in the morning in general, but like lately, like I feel like I could probably like, you know what I mean? I could probably work out at like 10 o'clock if I had to. So if I got up at like 7, I could probably get a decent work, because I struggled with working out in the morning. Like I couldn't train hard in the morning if my life depended on me. So I'd
Yeah.
always go in the afternoon, or I'd go in the evening, because that was when my energy levels were like higher. But
Mhm.
like now I'm finding that my energy spurt, or like that little bit of energy that I used to be getting in the afternoon, like I'm getting around like 10, 11 o'clock in the morning.
Wow.
Right. So it's like just a shift of just like getting up at 7 or getting up at 7:30, and then
Mhm.
having like that coffee at 8 or whatever, and then having that extra energy spike. You know what I mean? I might be crashing a little bit earlier in the day, but I find that like my peak is a little bit, it's changed, right? Like it's like, and I think that like when I go back to the gym, I think I'll start either working out like a little bit earlier, and just try that out. Because I
Mhm.
used to work out around 4 o'clock, and it used to be brutal, because like you get everybody like that was getting off work or what, you know what I mean? Around 5 o'clock, you'd be like, you get all the gym crew that were going in there. So I think
I
if I were a little
tried that,
earlier,
and I'm like, I can't do this. I know you're just too busy. You're waiting for machines, and like you just didn't want to do that. But yeah.
so one last question I wanted to ask you. So in terms of when the gyms reopen,
Mhm.
what's the first exercise you're gonna do?
Bench. bench. Um, I I had a goal to hit 405 on bench. I came so close before the quarantine. I
I
hit
seen a video of that. Yeah, I think I seen a
385 for two
video of that.
reps, and I was gonna
Yeah,
go 405 maybe like a week later, and quarantine happened. So
yeah,
I wanna, so I'm gonna have to gain some strength back. So close.
yeah.
Whatever.
How many could you have done with how many could you have done with 315?
How many could I do with 315?
Yeah,
Uh, I almost did 9 reps.
9 reps.
I
That's
did like
freaking awesome.
I'll just say 8.25.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's about
So
how
if you
many.
had like a little bit of a spot, you'd get that ninth.
Definitely, definitely.
Yeah. Yeah. Mine would probably be, I don't know. I never really thought of it. I would, I would probably have to say incline bench.
Incline bench. That's
Yeah. I like the incline for some reason. Like, I don't know. I find that like or you know what? It might be an incline dumbbell press.
dumbbells. Yeah, I like dumbbells. I'm,
Yeah.
I don't really. I just like the powerlifting aspect because the like heavyweights for me are just numbers going up. For me, I just like seeing numbers go up. Just another
Yeah.
way to measure progress. But for me, honestly, I rather dumbbells and cables and push-ups. I rather that for workouts than the powerlifting stuff. I just use that stuff for mental, for kind of like a way to challenge myself mentally. You know what I mean? It's not really something I'm into that much.
And I think it feels good as hell too. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
When you crush 405.
like, it's weird. Like making more money, like seeing your weight change. Just it's just a different way to get psychologically like satisfied, I guess.
Yeah. It's, I guess, a good way of looking at it. It's like if you instantly had all the money you could want, like would your fitness goals still be, you know what I mean? Would they be where they were at? And it's like probably no, because it's like a journey, you know what I mean? Like you can't, like money's not gonna, like you might be able to hire like the best personal trainer, or you might be able to afford like some type of like premium gym pass and move like travel across the world with like money, whatever you have. But
Yeah.
at the end of the day, man, like money is just something that like makes like a little bit less stressful. You know what I mean? It makes things a little bit easier to
Mm-hmm.
have a little bit of money, or to have like enough money to be able to do what you want. But at the end of the day, when it comes to fitness, it's like you just got to be able to put in that work. You can't pay the barbell to get heavier. You know what I mean? It's like you've just got to be able to show up and get the work done. And I think that like a lot of people try to rush through, and it's the same if you put it and you take it the other way and you say like, if you could just magically, like if someone had a wand and they were like, hey, I'll give you every fitness goal you've ever wanted.
Oh,
You know what I mean? And they
I
were
want
like,
to
you
take
can
it.
bench 600 pounds, you can deadlift this, you'll look this way. You know what I mean? It's just like, I think a lot of people don't embrace like
Maybe,
the journey.
maybe if the set, I'll give you all the knowledge. Yeah, I'll take it. But I no, because there's no like sense of accomplishment. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's something they just handed to you. It's just, and I'll say this to someone: when you pay for something, like you commit to it more. Like when this a price you have to pay, like you take things more seriously. You know what I mean? And I
Yeah.
think that's why people that pay for college do better because it pays, right? But if they got it for free, they don't really put in the effort
They don't
because
value because they don't realize like that it
exactly.
was something like of value because they didn't really work for it themselves, other than like getting the grades. But like I completely agree with that. And I was kind of on that end as well. Like I was pretty fortunate with like most of my schooling, and like I do kind of take it for granted in terms of, you know what I mean, like what I was able to get, you know what I mean, from growing up, and the things that, and everybody's in a different situation, and it's the people that like have to work the hardest for the things that they've got, you know what I mean, that really develop that sense of like accomplishment, like I think a little bit before, you know what I mean, some other people, because like they've already realized that like you need to, in order to get to where you want to be in life, it's like, unless you're a Kim Kardashian, you know what I mean, like you're not going to get things completely absolutely handed to you. So I think that's the only exception, is like maybe the queen, or like one of the like the princes, or like one of those people, like the royalty people.
Yeah,
Like you might have an exception there, but like everybody else, you know what I mean? Like even Justin Bieber, you know what I mean? Like
yeah, the
he,
work.
you know what I mean? He had to work to get where he was. Like it wasn't just like he didn't have to go on YouTube and he didn't have to get discovered, and he probably sent a bunch of awkward messages to a bunch of people in the past, you know what I mean, where it was like, hey bro, check out my song.
Yeah, that's how it started, though. That's how it started. Like,
Yeah, it's just like the little bits of like, and that goes kind of back to what we were saying, the little bits of progress, right? Like everything that you can kind of do, as long as you're moving in that one direction, right? Like as long as you're moving in that one steady direction, where it's like you're taking all the steps in your path to get to where you want to be. You're not, and obviously backtracking is going to happen. You know what I mean? Like there's going to be times where you feel like you're going backwards, but like at the end of the day, it's like it's all about like finding ways to continue to move forward. You know what I mean? Whether that be just like maybe you can't do it yourself, maybe you can try to inspire somebody else to do, like we're kind of doing with the podcast, right? Like we don't have barbells. Like I don't have a barbell. You probably don't have a barbell, but like there's somebody out there that might have a barbell. But like at the end of the day, it's like inspiring like others to like that if we were in that situation to kind of like make the most of it and being able to kind of do that and just kind of motivate people to do that for themselves, right?
exactly,
So,
exactly.
because like action doesn't take itself, right? Like you have to wake up, you have to put the time in, you have to go to the gym.
Exactly. And do it without complaining. Just do it.
Yeah.
Do it, right? Just do it. And that's what my parents taught me. They just do what you're supposed to do, don't complain, and be consistent. And good things are gonna come from it. And that's
Yeah.
really cool. And I believe that's true. You just put your head down and just keep rolling.
Yep. 100% agree. So is there anything else you'd like to add just to kind of at the end before we
Um, well, start today. That's the main advice. Start today. Start today. Because time
Yeah.
is not waiting for anybody. Start
Yeah.
today. Right? You can figure out how to make things perfect, how to make things exactly how you want it along the journey. Make sure to start today. That's also the major thing. Starting now. And people just like to wait till the things that are perfect lined up when they have money, when they have their friends coming with them. Start today. If you have your floor, that's enough. You can do squats. You can do sit-ups, push-ups. Start today. And there's
Yeah.
no reason to start today. Start today. That's
Yeah.
my advice.
So if you are in that snowball effect where you just feel like everything's going backwards, it's like now's the time to kind of turn the ship around. Now's the time to kind of say, you know what, like this is like tomorrow I'm gonna wake up and I'm gonna do something. And
Mhm.
like you said, like start whenever you can. Like whether or not if you're motivated now to work out and you're listening to this, like work out directly after listening to it, or maybe like you don't want to do it tonight, but just try to start tomorrow. Try to fix up if your nutrition's slipping, and also reach out to people. I feel like that's another thing is like if you don't have that support system, reach out to anybody that could possibly help. Like there's
Yeah.
coaches out there, like I do coaching, you do coaching. Like there's people out there that are willing to help you, and I think that people sometimes don't want to admit, you know what I mean, that they're
Yeah,
having
I need
issues.
help. I need help. Like everybody does, right? And
Mhm.
honestly, if I had like enough finances, I'd hire a coach just to be better, just for someone else to challenge me, right? I'd
Yeah,
hire like someone that's in crazy shape to me to help me,
yeah,
right? Be better. And I think people that can see that they need to learn will do better, right? Like, because we all
yeah,
do. Like, I'm not like in amazing shape, or I don't know everything. So if there's someone else that knows more, why not learn from them? I learn things from you. I learn things from everybody I talk to. So it's not a good place to be to think, oh, I'm all that, right? You got to be someone willing to be taught, right? And
yeah,
sometimes you're gonna feel your ego is gonna have to go out the window, but you have to, be able to be humble, right? Be able
yeah.
to learn and listen. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think you have to be like, yeah, I completely agree. I think you have to be willing to like understand like when you need help, you know what I mean, before it's too late.
Mhm.
And I think that like being able to like reach out to somebody who like, could give you that one like it could easily just take like what are you waiting for or something like simple like go work out or like
Mhm.
something like whatever. It could be just as simple as like because I know sometimes like there's times where like someone said something like that thing that you said to me that it doesn't get any easier. You know what I mean? That was something like now that I'm thinking about when I'm getting up in the morning, it's like that's something that you said to me that you probably didn't realize that like stuck with me. You know what I mean? But like now when I'm getting up, like I thought about that the other day. I was like, who said that to me? You know what I mean? I remember someone said that, and then it was like, then I remembered it was you, and then I was like, he was completely right. Like, it doesn't get easier, but I think that like it just takes that like that one. Sometimes it's as simple as just someone saying something very simple. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to be not. I mean, sometimes it could be like a long motivational thing, and it could be like a post, or it could be something else. But like sometimes it could just be like 3 words. You know what I mean? Like, or it could just be like get started, or start fresh, or like clean slate, or like something that where it's just like tomorrow is a fresh day, or tomorrow is another opportunity to like to be better than you were yesterday, or like what, as corny as it sounds, you know what I mean? But like I think that's where the truth is now. It's just like that's where a lot of people are having issues. It's just like
Yeah.
getting things going, like getting things like started, like getting the home workouts going, like figuring out which exercises that they're going to do. And like everybody, like when you get to the gym, it's like you have thousands of exercises. Like it's not hard to find an exercise, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like when you're at home, it's like that's when it becomes tricky. To people
Yeah.
don't have that ability to get creative, and they don't have that ability to find ways to challenge themselves, like going back to what we mentioned with the steps, right? Like being able to like find different ways to like, or the things that you said with the squats, like when you go by a doorway, or you go by the bathroom, or whatever, however, like you do it, you know what I mean? Like how, whatever it is, it's just like find different ways, you know what I mean? To challenge yourself. And I think that
Exactly.
that will
Exactly.
provide you
Mix it
with,
up. And always
yeah.
mix it up, right? To keep yourself excited. Not knowing what is coming. Like, just keep it going.
Awesome. All right. Well, I think that's going to do it. So, but yeah, I really highly encourage everybody. Like I said, I think the end message that I want to leave everybody with is just to kind of wake up early tomorrow. If you don't got anything going on, there's nothing going on. Don't feel like you have to like sleep in to pass the day. Like I feel like there's times where like you just kind of feel like there's nothing going on. I think the biggest piece of advice that I'd give her, I want to end it on, is just what you exactly said, is just get up early and get your workout in. And then I guarantee by like noon, you'll feel so much better. You'll feel so much more accomplished. And then that will set you up for the next couple days. And then as you kind of develop into a routine, if you are struggling, like if you are one of those people who are struggling getting the workouts in, once you kind of get a routine going and you kind of get a couple under your belt, and I think it doesn't have to be long, like even 20 minutes. You know what I mean? 25 minutes, 30 minutes. Like, don't think you have to do an hour and a half. Like, just do something small. Do push-ups, sit-ups, jumping jacks, like whatever. Like, just do something very small, but like make it a habit, make it a routine. Like, build it on one another. You know what I mean? And for the people that are continuing to do it, just like realize that like you're maybe not making progress, but like you're doing something. You're doing better than most people. And I think that there's a lot of people who aren't doing anything. So I think the end message is just to kind of like everyone's just looking forward to the gyms being open and everyone's eager. But I think you just got to put your head down, and as much as like you don't want to do it, or as much as like it might be easy to talk yourself out of it, I think you just gotta do it. Go for it. You know what I mean? Just put in the work and get those home workouts in, and
Exactly.
then at the end of the day, you can't say that you didn't do anything. You know what I mean? Like, when the gym's open, you can't say that like, oh yeah, I didn't do anything. You know what I mean? Like, at least you knew you put an honest effort in, and
Exactly.
you are where you are because of the choices that you made. So
Exactly. That's a big thing. Exactly.
yeah. All right. So don't forget to be inspiring, stay motivated, and continue to push your limits.